Hi and welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Vince. Thanks for stopping by. You're very welcome here indeed. So 3 months has just flown by. I've had my latest blood test. So enough waffling off me. Let's see what the blood test results are that I took on the 22nd of May 2021. Let's quickly look at the supplements I was taking when I had this blood test taken. So NMN 1.5 grams a day, trans resveratrol 1.5 grams a day, TMG 2 grams a day, berberine 1.5 grams a day, vitamin D3 5,000 international units per day, vitamin K2 120 micrograms a day, and that's the MK7 type, magnesium 250 milligrams a day, and that's L3 and 8, hyaluronic acid 200 milligrams a day of high molecular weight hyaluronic acid, quercetin and fisetin 2.5 grams a day, but both of these I only take on the 1st, 2nd and 3rd of each month, and I'm also back up to 1 tablespoon of dried parsley mixed into my yogurt with my resveratrol. Let's take a look at my lipid profile. So you can see here that my total cholesterol is high, and that's because my LDL cholesterol is always high because I follow a low carb, high fat diet. If this wasn't so high, then all of these would be blue, and this one would be red. The rest, my HDL, my triglycerides, my VLDL, which is the really important one with regard to heart disease, and the triglyceride and HDL cholesterol ratio are good, and the HDL-LDL ratio are good. That said, my triglycerides are 149 and 150 is the cutoff, and that's gone up from the 127 last time, and it's well above the 101 when I started back in October 19. So I'm looking to bring those down, and I've looked into ways that I can do that, and you can see here it says lose some weight, which I have been gradually doing, limit your sugar intake, which I do. The only bad sugar I tend to eat is sugar that's in the pizza on pizza night. The only other sugar that I do eat is going to be coming in the heavy cream, which I put in my coffee occasionally, or in the berries that I have in my berry shake during the week. It says follow a low carb diet, which I am doing. So it also says eat more fiber, and this is going to be a difficult one because I'm on a 16-8 fasting regime, which means for 16 hours a day I'm not eating, and for the 8 that I am, I break my fast with my yogurt and my resveratrol, and then my main meal at night has got steak or fish, and it will have 2 cups of cruciferous vegetables, which is a high level of fiber. In the snack that I have between 12 and 7, if I do have a snack, it's usually nuts, which is high in fiber, or which are high in fiber, and occasionally the berry shake, which isn't high in fiber. So I'm not too sure how much more fiber I can get into my diet. It says to exercise regularly, and as you know, if you watch my other update videos, I've gone from 2 to 3 times a week to 3 to 4 times a week, so that should hopefully take effect at the next 3-month blood check. It also says avoid trans fats such as cakes, cookies, pies, microwave popcorn, fried food and margarine, which I do. I don't think I very rarely eat those. I may sometimes on a Saturday or on a Friday, which is the weekend, I may have a donut, because sometimes when you get a coffee you get a free donut. That's really the only time I take sugar. So pizza night and Thursday night, on Friday occasionally I might have a donut. It says eat fatty fish twice a week. So back when my levels were low here in October and November 19 and 20, I seem to remember I was eating, although I was eating burgers and steak, I was also eating steamed salmon once, twice, sometimes 3 times a week. So I've gone back to introducing that into my diet to see if that will help. It then says also increase your intake of unsaturated fats. So again, back in the old days, in 2019 and the end of 2020, I was eating avocado with my lunch or my yogurt, as opposed to always eating nuts. So I've introduced avocado back into the diet, so that'll be 2 or 3 times a week as well. Hopefully that will take some kind of effect on my triglycerides at the next check. Moving on to blood sugar, you can see here that it is still high. It's still in the increased risk range. It's the highest it's ever been, 5.9. It was 5.8 last time. That said, it's a snapshot, so 2 days before it could be 5.8, or 3 days after it could be 5.7. I don't know, but it is gradually increasing. So I will probably pay more attention to that at the next one if it's continuing to go up, and we'll have a conversation with the doctor about trying to get me on metformin, because I really want to try to see if I can get on metformin to see if it does make a marked difference. The other thing that's changed, which is going in the wrong direction, is that my average blood glucose, which is normally 119, has gone to 123, and that's moved me from excellent control to fair control, which is still okay, but it's going in the wrong direction. That's something that I want to stop. So to do that, my next mini experiment, similar to the sauna one I've just done, is I'm going to be testing all the foods that I regularly eat, and I'm going to be doing a blood glucose sugar test on that to see if there is anything that I think is okay and I do eat regularly that is actually spiking my insulin. So that's it for blood sugar. Moving on to liver, you can see here 22nd of May that all of my stats for liver are within range, so nothing really to talk about there. So moving on to renal profile, you can see here that my blood urea nitrogen and creatinine ratio is high, which it was last time. It's 24 and it can be up to 23.1. That said, the urea nitrogen level is 24, 25 is the knockoff, and the creatinine is 1 and the knockoff is 1.1. So they're both within range, although they are at the higher level. If it continues to stay high, it may be something that I will discuss with the doctor in the future. Let's look at the thyroid. That's all well within range, so nothing really to talk about there. Vitamin D, that's up from 52 to 59, which is good, because the higher that is, the better as far as I'm concerned. So maybe the cycle into the gym in the sun, and I think I went up to, I take 10,000 milligrams of vitamin D3 on a Sunday, so that may be the reason that's popped up, and obviously it's a lot sunnier now as well. So that's it for vitamin D. Vitamin B12, again well within range, so nothing to talk about with regard to vitamin B12. Moving on to testosterone, you can see now it's 744.88, and that's up quite a lot from 634, not as high as 796, which it was in the end of November. Now remember, this test was taken a year after this test, and this was one of the reasons that I decided to go into 3 monthly blood checks, because it was between this one and this one I went up to 1.5 grams of NMN and 1 tablespoon of parsley. So to see if I could find out what had caused this, I went from 1 tablespoon of parsley to 1 teaspoon of parsley, and it dropped down to 634. I've gone back to 1 tablespoon of parsley, and I occasionally add parsley to my garnish for my steak and my fish at night, and it's gone back up to 744, which, and I think that's quite a considerable jump there, as is that's quite a considerable drop. So I'm well within range now for an adult male of my age. In that 744, the max should be 788, so that's a healthy number. I'm also within range of a 16 to a 21 year old, because they should be between 118 and 948, and 744 is in that as well. So this is good with regard to testosterone, and I think this is one of the reasons that and I don't know if it's the NMN and the parsley and the reduced CD38 and the increased NAD that's giving me the energy in the gym, but I think that the higher level of testosterone is definitely improving my fitness levels in the gym. So let's look at my iron. That's all good, well within range. My homocysteine, that's well within range, less than 13, it's 13. My CRP, C-reactive protein, which is inflammation, and a high number will give you increased risk for heart disease and stroke. That's a good number. My lipoprotein A is all okay. My apolipoprotein is all okay. My amylase is also all okay and well within range. So moving on to lipase, this caused me a little bit of concern initially. It's 111 up from 28, which is a huge jump, considering I was low at 10 and I went back up into range of 28, and now it's 110. So that caused me a little bit of concern. So I did some research to see how bad that is, and I got lots of conflicting results with regard to this particular stat. If you look at this, it says the normal range for adults younger than 60, which is me just about at the moment, is 10 to 140. So they've got 11 to 82. So there's a big difference between 140 and 82. So that was confusing. So if you go by that, then I'm within range, because 111 is much less than 140. Normal results for people who are 60 and older is 24 to 151. So I'm well within that, because I'm getting closer to 60. Higher than normal levels of lipase mean you have a problem with your pancreas. If your blood is 3 to 10 times the normal level of lipase, it's likely you have acute pancreatitis. So 3 times 82 is 246. It's not near that. And 3 times 140 is 420. So again, it's well below that. So I don't think I'm in the ballpark for acute pancreatitis, but I'm unsure as to why it's gone from low to within range and then to such a massively high number only 3 months later. Now, another search I did here, which talks about lipase and pancreatitis or pancreas damage, is it's got here that it says pancreatitis suspected greater than 200 for amylase. If you go back to my amylase score, it's 90, so it's nowhere near greater than 200. And it says for lipase levels, again, it's greater than 200. So I think that's going off the 140 number. So I will check that at my next 3-monthly clinic check and talk to the doctor if it's still high. And I'll be interested to see if anyone's got any knowledge or understanding about this and tell me if, for some reason, or why they've said that the number is between 11 and 82. And although I've found that in other places, the majority of data I've found has said that it should be between 10 and 140. I'd be interested to see if anyone else has got any comments on that particular subject. Let's look at fructose amine. That's okay. That's well within range, or that's well lower than it should be. Blood. So this MCHC concentration is still low. It's exactly the same as it was last time, and it says there that if I've got a low number, it's because I have my red blood cells don't have enough hemoglobin. If you go to hemoglobin, 15.8 for someone of my age is quite high, and it's gone from 14 to 6, and it's up in the high 15s. The maximum it can be is 17. So it's saying that I've got a low number here because I haven't got enough red blood cells or enough hemoglobin in my red blood cells, but it seems to say that's okay. My red blood cells themselves are okay. And if you look at my iron, because it also says hemoglobin is an iron-rich protein, and a lack of it may result in a low number here and anemia. And if you look at my iron score, again, that is well within range. So I'm not too sure why this one particular number is as it is. Again, it's one of those numbers that was not mentioned on my last contract medical, which was in February. So I think not an outlier, but a number that's all a marker that's all on its own, that if read on its own looks slightly disturbing, but when you look at the other things that relate to it, not really that important. Or I'm assuming that because the doctor didn't bring it up in the brief after the medical. I'd be interested to see if anyone else has got any ideas of why this number's low, but anything else or the things that indicate this number should be low are high. So yeah, let me know what you think about that. So the second part of the blood panel, you can see here for the 22nd of May, everything well within range, so nothing to talk about there. My urine, my PP scores are all tickety-boo, nothing wrong with that. EGFR is down 1 from last time, which was 84. It should be more than 90. I'm in the mild decreased area. It says people between 60 and 89, which is what I am, may not have kidney disease if there's no sign of kidney damage, such as protein in the urine. If you go back to my PP score, you can see protein and nil. So there's no protein in the urine. It also says that people who are in this area should have their GFR checked more often. And I think that this experiment I'm doing, which is making me, or I'm chosen to do a blood test every 3 months, is far more often than the average person. So I think I'm covered with that. If I see any great changes in this, then I shall obviously bring it up with the doctor. But hopefully, if there is a big change in this, then the doctor will bring it up in the post-blood test discussion. So I hope you found that interesting. All in all, I think the numbers are not too bad. A couple of the numbers are creeping up towards the top end of the reference range, so I'm going to need to monitor that. Make some small changes like eating more fish, trying to take in more roughage, etc. I'd be interested, however, to see what your thoughts are on my lipase level. First of all, what do you think is the reason that it jumped up so much? And I follow some YouTube channels that talk about blood tests and markers, and they say if you get something that's out of the ordinary, which I think that is, they say to get it checked fairly quickly, because sometimes it can be an error at the laboratory. I did that with my testosterone. When that jumped up so high, I had it checked again at the local clinic, and it was still high, so that was a positive if you like. I'd also be interested to find out what you think about the contradictory reference ranges, the one that I get from the clinic and the one that I found in the majority on the internet. I'd like to see what you think about that. Well, that's it for today. I hope you found this interesting. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. As always, please take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.